You know, it's interesting that some people are nervous talking to people, but then when they talk to a camera, they don't feel nervous. And for some people, it's like the complete opposite. They talk to a camera, they don't feel comfortable at all, and then they talk to people, and they're like the most extroverted, outgoing people. I think I'm somewhere in between. Like, I'm used to the camera, but it doesn't feel like I'm talking to a person. And then when I talk to people, it still feels a little awkward. Just because anything that's not yourself is the unknown. So there's a bit of an automatic lack of trust there. Not that I have trust issues, but yeah. Just an interesting thought I just had. So today's video is going to be about social media and how to use it without completely fucking yourself. And I think this is an important video to talk about today. Because I'm seeing a lot of videos like this where we're trying to figure out how to handle this. And, for some people, it's as easy as delete the app and never use it again. For some people, it's more complicated than that. They have to have the app, and it's about managing their time on it properly. And I'm seeing some more in-depth stuff about just being more focused when you're on the app, being more present instead of being in a daze the whole time, which is also interesting. Which is also very interesting. Personally, I think there's not a great way to do it, but there's a lot of small little things you can do that might add up and end up making it so your life is less stressful with social media involved, and that can be very difficult. That can be very difficult to accomplish, but I figured we would talk about that today. So yeah, the title of today's video: how to be on social media and not completely fuck yourself. I think it's a good title. And welcome everyone who has joined in on the YouTube stratosphere, atmosphere, whatever. We're out here in colorful Colorado. It's a beautiful sunny day. We're on the edge of a mountain. On this rock, it gave us a perfect seat to cross our legs as a very unflexible man. I had a girl tell me yesterday that she always tells young boys to stretch. So if you're young boy, and you're watching this to learn your ways around social media, another word of advice: stretch those legs, stretch those hips, because you won't be flexible forever. And it's nice to be able to sit in multiple ways. It just is. So to get into the video, I thought we would talk first about what social media is causing people to do with their attention, and how it's different than other ways we previously have used our attention. And I'm going to leave a link in the video to a shorter 6-minute video that I watched yesterday that explains it much better than me. So if you're interested in learning what fragmented attention is, click on the video in the description. But for the sake of chilling here and just learning some basic principles to it, fragmented attention is when we're on our phones I don't have my phone on me right now, but let's say I was. We'll say this notebook's my phone. I scroll, and I'm just scrolling, you know. I see the post, I understand, like, there's something to it, but once I see it, once I have my first emotional reaction to it, I'm like, all right, next. And we keep doing this. And we'll say because there's some posts that you just don't even, like, it's like 1 second gone, which is crazy how much some people be doing that. But let's say, you know, every 30 seconds you scroll. You look at the post, you watch it, and you scroll on average every 30 seconds. You're reducing your cycle of thought. Because if we think about how a human normally thinks, you know, we receive information, then we process how we feel about it, then we start thinking about it more and gathering context to why we're feeling those emotions. And then from there, there's like another wrap-up conclusion process to it. Like, okay, well, I feel this way because of X, Y, and Z, and I'm either going to do nothing about it or I'm going to do something about it, and then you move on. And when we scroll on social media, we have fragmented attention, which means we're not going through the full cycle of our thoughts. We're getting to, oh, this is how I feel about it, and then that's it. We move on. And that's a lot different than how we used to process information. There used to be a little bit more time to go through the full circle, but at this point, it's just a reaction and go, and it makes it so we forget a lot of things. You start not being able to remember names of people, movies you watched, and obviously you wouldn't remember necessarily what you're watching on social media. Try to remember something that you watched on social media in the last 24 hours. Just try to remember one thing right now in the next 10 seconds. I'll wait. You know, you may have started to get to one, but then it blurred in with another one. They're all just happening, and they're so fast and so constant, it's really hard to distinguish one thing or another. You remember in the moment when it's happening, but, you know, hours later, it's pretty much irrelevant information. So, interesting how that works. I've seen a few ways on the internet that are not my ideas that I want to bring up of how to possibly eliminate this fragmented attention. One is to build a routine in your day for when you start watching social media. So, like, every day after work, for most people this might make sense. Every day after work at 8 p.m., I'm going to spend 15 to 30 minutes on Instagram, like starting with like answering DMs, and then I'm going to just scroll for a bit and then check stories, whatever you want to do on there, whatever. There's only so many things you can do. And that's your time every day. And somehow building a routine into it might activate your brain a little bit more instead of like just going on it on a whim. Like that might make you more in a daze when you're on the app. So I think that's interesting. I have not tried that one, but I could see it working. And then another one I saw was to build a note garden while you're scrolling. So just like taking notes and trying to connect things and engage in the media. So this is a cool idea. I'm not in love with it because I will admit a lot of social media is a bunch of fucking shit posts. Like, what are we taking notes on here, you know? I get it for maybe like watching a TV show or a movie or listening to a podcast. And I kind of just end up doing that with, like, no one told me to do that. I just sometimes take notes because I think I need to. But on social media, it's a little different. Like, I'm only going to be taking notes on so many posts. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be at that point. So, give or take might be a bad idea, might be a good idea. It probably depends who you are and what kind of content you're consuming, how the algorithm feeds you. You know, if you're getting a lot of posts that trigger thoughts in the brain and you're just blocking out those thoughts, yeah, it might be a good idea to take some notes. But if you're just getting a bunch of memes, I mean, I don't know. Like, how deep do we have to really get into it? And then I have some ideas of maybe how to combat this fragmented attention that I feel like work. And the first one is pretty simple. Just go slower. Even if it is just a meme and there's not really something so deep behind it, it still might help to go a little slower and like process the meme, laugh about it, and then sit with that laughter. Even if nothing really comes out of it, it's better to just know that nothing's coming out of it for sure than to just like go on to the next thing and not let that emotion fully process. So yeah, you know, we take that rate of scrolling. I was saying on average, maybe it's 30 seconds, you know, try to make that 90 seconds, 2 minutes, you know, just go a little slower. And one way I would say you can go slower, and this was kind of just my second piece of advice, is use the comment section to, one, go slower, but two, to gain further context. And not just the comment section, use the internet too. If you have a question, first go to the comment section, see what people are saying. But you know, people are people, they're going to be wrong about things. There's the internet, you have AI. AI and the internet are wrong too sometimes, but probably a little more accurate. Get yourself some knowledge behind what you just saw if it's interesting to you. You know, you don't have to just scroll past it and like it's nothing. Engage with it a little bit. And you know, there it's like you might have some posts, if we're imagining the flow of this, you might have some posts where you like scroll and you're like, this is not interesting to me, and you know it's not interesting to you. You scroll to the next thing, right? So then you go to the next thing and you're like, oh, you watch like, let's say a minute video and it's pretty interesting, and let's say for the sake of example, it's a cooking video or something. Yeah, a lot of people watch those. Well, instead of just being like, well, that was cool, next thing, maybe think about, do you want to make this food? Would you want to get it somewhere? Look for restaurants that serve this type of dish, or think about what grocery stores you could go to get these ingredients and make it for yourself. And then like ultimately decide like if you're gonna pursue further with it or if you're just gonna not. Because at the end of the day, to reduce the fragmented attention span, we just want to have a full circle of thought when it comes to the content that we're taking in. And yeah, that's my advice there. So the whole idea is to be more present while you're on social media and more engaged. And if you go faster, it's going to be difficult to be more engaged. So I'm suggesting just go slower. So that might help you from not just being completely fucked in the mind. Birds are out. Another piece of advice that I have. It's good to understand your emotions going into being on social media, and just understand, like, if you're sad and you're on social media and then maybe you see posts that you don't like and that makes you like more frustrated, even if you get posts that make you laugh every once in a while, but like you got to understand not every piece of content is going to satisfy you. So because of that, because there's pros and cons to each piece of content, and not every piece of content is going to be a pro, it's probably a good idea to go off the app if you're getting too much negativity. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I see one post, it's terrible, I'm done. Because you're probably just going to like brain fart and open app back up again. Like that's kind of what happens is, I mean, I don't know if you've done this, but I've done this plenty of times where I close Instagram and then the thing I'm supposed to do next is not present in my mind. So I just reopen the app and I'm back and it's like I didn't even know that I closed the app. I basically didn't. And I do this when I see a post that I don't like. And I notice that in general, during those moments of my life, I am generally irritated about something or discomforted by what's going on in my life. It has nothing usually to do with social media, but the reason I went on social media was to avoid that pain. And if you're aware of these emotions, I would advise you to not go on social media when you're feeling that way, because there's a lot of negative emotions that are going to come out of it that aren't related to the pain you're feeling. And usually when you mix those two things, it's gonna make your mind spiral and get confused. And I mean, it's not really a good state to be in my opinion. So yeah, better to just accept that you're sad, accept that you're annoyed, and just be that way without social media. So you gotta know, based on your emotions, when is the best time to not be on the app and what times is it okay to do it? Because you kind of have to treat it like a drug in a sense. It's like if you, I mean, I don't do this drug, but if you do Coke makes you feel like you're some sort of super god for 30 minutes, and it makes you very happy and confident in yourself. But the next day, or maybe hours after you take that drug, because your serotonin levels rose to a artificially high level, now when they're at the normal level of how you are just sober, it doesn't feel as good. So you have to treat social media like it's that same drug. You have to understand that if you're sad and you use it to make you happy, when you go off the app, you're gonna feel even more sad. And if you're happy and you go off the app, the same effect is happening, but it's just not gonna be as daunting. And I guess with this logic, the more flustered you are going into using it, the longer you'll end up spending on it to avoid that pain. So prioritize your mental health first, prioritize your emotions, try to use the app at times where, it feels like a good time to do it. It doesn't feel like you're avoiding something, because you're not always going to be sad in life. You're going to have times where you're just chilling. And like that's, if you're just bored and you're chilling, no one's making you go off social media. Like, yeah, maybe there's better things you could do, but there are pros to social media. It could be that it like makes your day better. So don't just assume that social media is just going to ruin your day at all times, but also understand there are times in your life where it is going to make recovering from these emotions more difficult for yourself. And I'd also say, have a short leash on social media. I think, when when it's getting bad, it's not a good idea to just keep scrolling. I would say close the app, get off it, deal with your emotions, and use that as your time limit. You don't, I see a lot of people use, and I haven't mentioned this yet, a lot of people use a time limit, like the screen time thing, and they'll set like a 25-minute limit. I would love to say that works, but the thing is, there is an option there, and you can just say ignore for the next 15 minutes or ignore for the rest of the day. So is it really restrictive? No. It tells you, like, hey, you've been on the app for a while, and if you like it as a warning, just to like let you know, hey, you've wasted 25 minutes of your time today on this app, yeah, it's a good idea to have, but that can't be like the end all be all for getting off the app that day. You need to just judge it based on the content you're getting. Like, eventually the amount of good content that the algorithm suggests you is going to dilute and get worse the more you're on it, because there's only so much good content out there to consume. It's called content. People are just fucking ripping out whatever and posting it and hoping it works. Like, there's not gonna be unlimited gold content for you. So instead of just like scrolling and more percentage of that scroll being posts that are negative to your mind, just fucking close the app and try again later. Like, eventually more content will come to you, but you have to give the algorithm time to process what you need next. It's not going to just have it for you. So yeah, just have a short leash. You don't need to have the time limit, but it can help. And another good thing is, if you close the app when you have a post that's bad, that tells the algorithm that you don't like those types of posts. And that's good too, because you're supporting the algorithm while also going off of social media. You can't think of the algorithm as like, oh, it's meant to fuck me. It's meant to, take away all my attention and ruin my life. Like, that is kind of what it's meant to do, but you can still see the good parts of it, as it's meant to give you content that it thinks you would enjoy watching. So when it gives you shit that isn't your forte, throw it away. Just say fuck that. Close the app. Tell Instagram, I don't fucking like this. Don't show me this again. And if you keep showing it to me, I'm gonna keep closing the app. And that will train it to not give you that shit. So it's a two-way street. One, you're getting off the app and you're dealing with your emotions that you actually need to deal with. But two, next time you go on the app, it should be a more enjoyable experience. Yeah. Now, there is the other side of social media, which is posting on social media, being a creator. Not everyone is a consumer on social media. We have creators as well. And I think that comes with a different type of stress and issue. It's not necessarily ruining your attention to be a creator. It's definitely better to create than to consume. But also, there is a pressure as a creator that one feels to be liked, because there is a like button on all of these apps. So, getting the views, getting the likes, and getting the engagement that you want comes with a pressure that we've, never really dealt with to this extreme an extent until, the 2010s and now 2020s that we're in. So, it's recent. And I have found that it's difficult to deal with this stress. Like, I will upload this video and I will probably be very worried about how it does, especially when it inevitably doesn't get that many views, or maybe it could. But, this is going to be one of my first posts on this channel, so, or at least first post in a long time. And yeah, I'm not doing anything to try and like get your attention throughout the whole video. Like if you're sticking around for this entire video, good for you, because you have a very patient mindset and are, just letting the information come. You're letting it pass. You're not rushed. You're not feeling like, oh, I need to skip to the parts that are useful. Nothing is like particularly useful to you. You're just vibing and watching the video. You're being. You're just consuming actively. So that's what my videos I'm trying to do is, not try to force your attention. If you want to watch the video and you feel that's useful for you, you should do that. And if you don't, you don't. But with that said, I still feel a pressure that if no one watches this video, that the video is bad, and I'm going to start thinking of ways I can maybe retain the audience's attention more. And that's not healthy. Because who cares? Why does it doesn't even matter. It's not healthy. So I gotta find a way to combat this. And I mean, the best way is to just not give a shit. Don't feel pressure to post. Only create and post something if it's calling you. Because you're still releasing it to the world and it can still benefit people. There are the pros of creating on social media, that it can help a mass number of people with a variety of things. A variety of information can be consumed and help people in a variety of ways. So I'm not going to act like it's bad, but I also don't want the way the algorithm is displayed with the like system, the comment section, and views, and the idea of videos going viral to persuade how I create. And I definitely don't want it to persuade how I think once the video is already uploaded. So only if it's calling me should I post. And I suggest that if you're not trying to make money off of this and you're just trying to post things because people post on their Instagram, to not just force it. Don't go on a trip, take a bunch of photos, and with the idea that you're going to post on Instagram and that's going to lead to something like more people liking you, or getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Like, your Instagram page is not going to directly benefit your life as much as you would think. It's not going to solve all your problems. So the only reason to do it is to help other people who are going to view it. And maybe, it's helpful for people to get an insight on your life, to know that you traveled. It could spark conversations later. Might just get them thinking about you, and maybe they'll call you at some point and you'll catch up. Basic life things. Like, it can definitely be nice, or they just go, oh, it's good to know my friend's doing that. It's simple. It's not that deep. If you're trying to make it solve all your life's problems and you're thinking about it with that much pressure, and really, like, it's pressure. It's putting the idea in your head that it's make or break, that there's a lot on the line here if you post versus don't post in a certain way. If you're stressing because you're like, oh, I posted 8 images instead of 4, or you're like, oh, that was the wrong image, I should have done this one instead. It's like, bro, just post both. Like, it's just not that deep. Like, you can take your time with it. You can make it nice. I'm not saying to like be a lazy creator because you don't care, but don't put too much pressure on yourself, because it just isn't that deep. And even for business people, like, I'm a filmmaker, photographer, so it's weird for me because I only post photos that I take as like hobby photography, but like when I work with clients, I don't really post that. I'll sometimes post stuff on my story. just to let people know, like, hey, work with me, you know? But I don't want my profile to become like some advertising campaign, and that's what most companies do. Is if you're running a business, you have an Instagram page that is your company, but it kind of is also like an advertising page. Here's the deal. As we had already mentioned before, most people on social media are going way too fast and are fragmenting their attention and are not really engaged with any of the content. So whatever they see from you, unless they engage with it right then and there, they're not gonna fucking remember it. In fact, it's gonna be almost more forgettable. So going back to the last point, it's just not that deep. There's no reason to put so much pressure on it. Yeah, it can be helpful. It can have people engage. But yeah, like, you can't let it like derail your mental health. It's just, and honestly, like, as someone who works social media and has worked for content creators and done social media for companies, like, yeah, I don't know how much it's really helping them. It's definitely helping a little bit, but I do wonder, like, is it worth hiring an entire social media team if people are just going to scroll and not remember what they see? And I think that's why a lot of people are trying to hire people to do their entire social media. Like, they're like social media manager, but they also need to know how to like edit, film, create, do all these hats, which, you know, some people can do, but it's way more effective to hire like 4 people to like have a writer, someone who gets like clients and, you know, does all the comments. You need different people to do different things and specialize for it to be really effective and for the content to be, you know, not just a bunch of fucking slop, a bunch of bullshit. So you wonder how much that's really worth it, because people are just scrolling mindlessly anyways. Like, do they really fucking care? I kind of feel like they don't, but maybe they do. Maybe. All right, another way we can use social media to our hopefully benefit, but and not fuck ourselves is the main idea, is to use the pros to our advantage. Believe it or not, social media does have pros. It is good in some ways. One way that I use social media to help my life is to find new music. Most posts have songs. A lot of musicians post on social media. You can find new musicians and new songs, and you can Shazam whatever you want, or just, it usually says what song it is and you just type it in. So there's a lot of music on the platform, and it's really easy to access it. Add it to your playlist, add it to whatever, and, you know, it becomes a part of your music library that you can go to when you want to listen to music. So it's helpful in that way. It's a small win. There's good advice on social media. People are always giving tips on how to do different things, and it's helpful. Don't just take the advice and go, okay, whatever, and forget it. Like, try to apply it. You know, sometimes you just learn world news that you just need to know. There's a lot of fake news. There's a lot of bullshit. So if you're not engaged, that's not going to matter, because you're going to engage a bunch of shit that doesn't really, it's not happening. It's fake. And you'll realize that if you start going on social media and you're more engaged and you're actually like looking up stuff on the internet and going in the comment section, and you realize half the shit you're looking at is fake. Most of the reels and stuff you watch where they're like doing it from like a perspective of someone just like walking and talking to someone, that's all staged. Most of this shit is staged. I mean, this is the case with a lot of film and media, documentaries, you know. most of the conversations you're watching are somewhat staged. You know, they know to have the conversation, but they put the cameras in a certain way and set it up so it feels right, and they need time to do that. It's not like they just are like, all right, put the camera here, and it happens to be in the perfect spot. Like, they're thinking about this stuff. You know, it's not set up to feel staged, but it's the opposite. It's set up to not feel staged, and that's why you don't notice that it's staged. But a lot of this shit is fake, and you're gonna notice that the more engaged you are with the content. And I think going back to that point, like, try to understand what's real and what's fake. Try to build your media literacy, because that's important. I hate to say this, but this is just how it is. Like, social media feeds off of unaware and unhealthy people. And that's a lot of us. So, you know, I'm not going to act like I'm the most aware and healthy person. I definitely think I get good exercise in and eat as good as I can. And for the most part, like, I think I'm pretty aware of what's going on in the world. But, you know, there's still things that get me. There's still things on there that I just didn't realize were fake, or, you know, didn't realize were just a bunch of bullshit. So it happens. But social media is trying to use this to keep you on the app. So the more aware you are, the more social media literate you can be by being engaged, the better you are off. You know, the less it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt the people that are not engaged and are just, you know, letting whatever influence them however. If you're aloof on the app, you're going to get fooled by pretty much every trick in the book. That's just how it's going to be. And one more pro to just take advantage of is Laugh. Like, it's a fucking meme app half the time. Like, just, yeah, enjoy yourself on it. Like, there's going to be posts that are like fucking gold, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so fucking glad. Like, I saw this. This was, like, you are dying laughing, and then you send it to your friends, you know? Like, that's a great part of the app. I don't really have anything to say badly about that. I think it might persuade people to be a little bit more fucked up. Like, people just laugh at 9/11 jokes, like, or 9/11 memes. Like, I mean, they're honestly not even funny anymore. You've seen so many of them, and you've laughed at so many of them probably. But it's like, real world, guys. Like, this shit is, you know, war is real. Just letting y'all know. Just letting y'all know. You know, it's not always great to laugh about, but, you know, there are things on there that are just genuinely funny and very clever by the content creator. So, you know, use those posts as a source of humor and laughter and stress relief. You know, it can be stress relieving to go on the app. It's not act like it's all bad. And then another thing that I think is interesting, and I don't really know where this goes in the video, so I guess this is like its own separate just pointer, but you can reset the algorithm on Instagram. I don't know if you can do this on TikTok or YouTube, but you can reset the algorithm on Instagram. That's like probably most people watching this video use Instagram. So, you know, if it's ever just getting fucking out of hand, you're just getting a bunch of shit posts, and it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, I just don't want to be on this app anymore. It's getting that bad. Just reset it. It could end up, you know, rewiring a different way, and then you get a more enjoyable experience. So you can always go into the settings and just reset the algorithm, try again. And usually that gets you off the app a little bit, because when you first reset the algorithm, it's going to give you like a lot of stuff you don't want to see. So you'll probably end up closing it a lot just to like let it know, like, hey, I don't want to watch this. So it's, you know, pick and choose the times where you want to reset it. But like, it can be helpful. I've tried it. It definitely can be helpful. And then I got some advice just for watching YouTube, because YouTube's a little different than the other social medias, as like YouTube's not gonna get your attention fragmented per se, unless you're on YouTube Shorts. But let's say you're like watching normal YouTube videos. just in a sense like of cooperating with the algorithm. Let's say you open it on your laptop. I think it recommends like 4 or 8 videos just right there. And then you click on one and it's like the next time you go to the home screen, you get 8 new videos. I don't love this. Here's what you can do though. You can right click and open the link in a new tab, watch the video. If you don't like it, click off it, go back to the home screen. You still have the 7 other videos there. And like literally just go through and try them all, because then you're like really finding out in that one reset of the algorithm which video you like best, and it's not judging just based off of a thumbnail, because the thumbnail is probably not very telling. It's not a lot of context of what you're going to watch. Like most people are clickbaiting. You can see the time length of the video. That gives you a little bit of a sense of what you're going to watch, but it's best to like scroll through it a little bit and actually see if it's something you want to engage with or not, and to do it with all the videos, and just, you never know what's there sometimes. Yesterday I was on YouTube and I did this, and actually this happened in the course of 2 days. So 2 days ago I was on it. I got 4 videos recommended to me, and I was like, oh, these all look interesting, but they all look a little bit different. So it was nighttime, and there was a John Lynch short film called Rabbits that I watched, and that was fucking insanely terrifying and disturbing. But, you know, I watched it because it was interesting. And then I went to bed. Next morning, and I'm so glad I didn't have fucking nightmares, because that film was kind of fucking terrifying. Next morning, go about my day, eventually end up on the laptop again. I'm opened on the same screen. I'm like, oh yeah, there's 3 more videos here that I could watch. One of them is a 10-minute short film. I'm like, I'll check that one out. The other videos are like 30 minutes. I thought it was a fucking terrible short film. I clicked off of it in 2 minutes. I was like, this is stupid. Go to the next video. Ends up being a 40-minute documentary of this guy like taking his drag racing car across America, like 4,000 miles. I was like, that's cool. Super cool video. Wasn't trying to beg for my attention the whole time. Just chill vibes. I watched most of it. I skipped past some of the parts that I didn't really care for, like him like fixing his car and shit, which I just like, you know, it's interesting to some people, not interesting to me. And that's the other thing. It's good to watch longer videos because, yeah, maybe there's some parts of it you don't want to watch. There's a fucking fast forward button now. Like you can skip, like it's okay. You know, you can still take what's useful to you, but also like, yeah, you know, watch the longer video. You're probably going to get more context and be more engaged than you would if it was shorter. And then the next video, I didn't know what it was, but I clicked on it, and it was actually a music thing. It was like a 40-minute album visualizer. And this was great because I was actually editing photos, and I kind of needed to get off YouTube, and I was like, wait, this is great. Like, now I'm just going to listen to this 40-minute album, not look at the visualizer, and edit my photos. And I did that. And right when the video ended, I was kind of like done. So I got my work done. And YouTube helped me because it like eased my mind through one of the videos I watched. And then the next one was just music, and I was motivated then to do my work, and then I did my work. So you can use social media to like kind of guide your life a little bit, or at least YouTube. I'm not saying that's gonna like go so perfectly every time, but you know, just through that 4 video algorithm set, through the course of time, like I used it to watch a film before I went to bed, and then get me into the workflow the next day. So that's interesting, you know, and it can probably work in ways similar to that or a little bit different to, you know, just help you get through the day, because it's a lot of time. If you're on YouTube, you're probably trying to kill time. If you're on social media, you're probably trying to kill time. Like, maybe use it a little bit more than just killing time, you know, try to help it guide your life forward a little bit. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it, right? Oh yeah, and then the last thing, Nothing I said matters at all if you don't go the fuck outside and do things. Like, seriously, if you're just trying to go off the app and then just sit there and all you're doing is thinking about, damn it, I want to go on social media, like you're not doing things, like even fucking like just meditate or something, I don't know. But like you need time away from the app because as I had already mentioned, there's only so much content that the algorithm can give you each day that you're gonna like. You can't just expect it to have fucking 24/7 good content for you. You gotta chill and let it rest and let the algorithm reset and give you new things. So my main advice is like balance it. You cannot be on it too much in general. There's a certain point where it's gonna start diluting to just nothing useful. And it's gonna be less enjoyable to be on the apps too. It's more enjoyable if you're on it like just a certain amount of time each day, or maybe not even each day. Maybe you use it twice a week. I don't know. You know, it's up to you at the end of the day. But there's gonna be a certain point where it starts getting worse if you use it too much, and you got to find out what that point is and just do other things, because otherwise none of these things are gonna matter. Literally none of them. You're not gonna have a healthy life in that point. At that point, like, who cares? You know, it's just a bunch of bullshit at that point. So yeah, that's the video. That's how to try and be on social media and not completely fuck yourself. You know, I would also say you could just delete the fucking apps, but this is more for people that can't do that. Like, I get a lot of work off of Instagram. Like, Instagram is just kind of required to have if you're a photographer or a filmmaker, and I'm both. So I really can't delete the app. I wish I could. I can't. It's a business tool. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to think of any other thoughts. No, I really don't. Yeah. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Manage your time well. And Yanni's out here. Oh, let me show you guys where I am. Just so, I don't know. I'm just gonna do this with all the videos. I'm just gonna show where I am. Even though I'm just kind of like on the side of a mountain. But it's some cool views, Let's lift this bitch up. Alright, so first view is this mountain, which is very red. And there's a hiking trail. I've seen some people. This is the view we were just looking at. And then up here, I can digitally zoom in. I just think this is a very, very cool rock at the top of this very, very tall mountain. I was gonna sit like over here where my backpack is, but I was like, this thing is so tall, it's not even gonna be in the shot. So I'll just show you the sky. And then some trees that the sun is getting diffused through. Probably was shadier in the second half of the video. So yeah, that's just where we are. So this is our little setup. You know, I'm gonna have to get back to the trail. I'm not too far off trail, but I'm definitely off the fucking trail. So, yeah, Yanni's out here. Everyone have a good rest of your day.